Hey friend, Chuck Quinley here. Welcome to Grounded. Grounded is all of us walking with Jesus in these crazy times, but grounded in the Lord and grounded as disciples, because you don't have to be all shook up just because the world is crazy. You can find a grounded path where you are solid and you are living your life on the foundation of the practices and teachings and presence of Jesus Christ in your life. And I want that. I'm doing my very best to live that life out. And this is just my place where I share everything that I've discovered from a lifetime of walking with the Lord and receiving things from Him, and also being around some really wise people and some great models of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. So I just welcome you here, and I want to thank you for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about turning to God when you're in trouble. Just even the possibility that I could turn to God, a God who made the world, and that in my day of trouble, I can find access to Him and go to Him in my time of trouble. We're going to have a Bible study, Bible story that is exactly about that moment where there are some people and they are over their head in trouble, but they know, I think humans instinctively know, whether you're Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, or Christian, when you get in deep enough trouble, you look up and, even in culture, there's an expression, oh my God. And it's like, I am having an experience. It is shocking. It is destabilizing. And the first words out of my mouth are, oh my God. It lifts us up. Even agnostics in their moment of crisis, they say, oh God, help, So it is built into the human that when we're in trouble, you can lift up and you can call out to God. And Mark Rosakai runs our Thailand outreach. And in that outreach, we have Muslim, Hindu, and Buddhist students. And one of them was giving her experience. And she said, in my previous background, I've been praying all my life. But she said, I just knew nothing was going to happen. I had zero confidence that if I prayed, there would be any hope for me. But she said, now I completely believe in prayer. So just the first thought in this newsletter is that you can turn to God in your time of trouble, and He will be there. He will be present for you. So that's a first foundation that we want to lay today. And the second one is something else that we have to deal with, and that is that God is God. And there are going to be times in all of our lives where we're going to be in trouble. We're going to feel like we're in a crisis. Most of our crises just, have a way to work themselves out. But sometimes you're really in one, you're over your head, and you're going to call out to God and you're going to tell Him what you want Him to do, and He's not going to do it. And now it's, what do you do with that? And there are people all over the world, but especially I run into them in America, who, because of that experience, they just walk away from God. They don't have anywhere in their mind for the experience of, I was in pain, I'm having a crisis, I turn to God and say, hey, God, fix this, and He doesn't fix it. Like, they don't know what to do with that. So they just say, you can't trust Him, or maybe more honestly, the machine doesn't work. I want a gamified system where I know if I do this, I get that. And that's sort of the basis of all religion, is that you want to turn to the deity. And usually in other religions, you have to do a deal with them. Like, you got to bring them a bunch of offerings. You got to kind of buy their help in some way. So you have to have a space in your mind as a disciple. On the one side, you've got to build up your faith, where it's like, I trust God. I know that when I reach out to God, I can't just say, Lord, if you can help me, please help me. Because Jesus was dealing with a man who exactly said that to Him. Lord, if you could do anything about this, please do. And He said, if you can. You got to have faith. When you approach God, you got to come with belief on, totally confident. You got to call out the thing you want and exercise your own faith, reach up and grab it and pull it into your world. But you're going to run into I don't know where I got the idea, but I just call it the Ecclesiastes phenomenon, because that little book is in the Bible for a very specific purpose. You get the book of Proverbs, and Proverbs says, these are the rules for living. This is how life regularly works. If you do this, this will happen. If you're sloppy and lazy and sleep all day, you will become poor. And if you do that, if you do the hard things, you will be rewarded. And it keeps laying out this, do this, get that. And then you get Ecclesiastes, which just sort of raises a hand and goes, not always. And it wants to point out the exceptions. And that book was left in the Bible, on purpose. And it's an irritating book in a lot of ways. It's like, but he's saying the opposite of what and it comes from the same wisdom background. The same wisdom literature as that book that has Proverbs that says, you can't game God. There are times that you do ABC, you always get D, but then there's ABC, hit the button and nothing comes out. And so what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do in that moment? You got to have a space. If you're going to walk with God for a lifetime, if you are really going to build a relationship with the God of the universe, as his child, you and I are going to have a space in our theology that says, but if not. There has to be an if not clause in your thinking about God. I believe God can. I believe God will. I claim God's power in this. I claim this outcome. But if not, I will still, you got to finish that. And if you don't have that in your mental package, you're missing something. Your programming is defective, and it's not going to be able to stand up to a lifetime of assaults, because our very existence every day is threatened. There are a million meteors that try to hit Earth every single day, asteroids, and our atmosphere. God builds this atmosphere and he protects us day by day. And in so many ways, I look back on my life, I'm sure you can too. I had so many days I almost got killed. I almost have drowned. I almost had the bow of a boat crash down on my head, and it missed me by like that far. And this is like tons of boats seizing up and down in the waves. And I was scuba diving. I was just on the surface waiting for others, and I had no idea how close I was to the bow of that boat. And it came down right next to me, narrowly missed me. Almost got crushed by a truck against a loading dock. Thanks to my brother Mike, who saw the circumstance and didn't crush me. And I'm sure you have the same experience. Like so many times we could have died, except this happened to us. But my friend, there are going to be those days and times in our life where that inside pitch is going to hit you. And all the prayer before you get in the batter's box is not going to stop it. You are still going to get hit by that pitch. And who knows, maybe in the course of a life, it's really important to get hit by a few pitches. Maybe it does something in you, even if, you end up with a fear of getting hit by a pitch and you got to overcome. This is all the development of a human. I don't know why all these things happen, and it's not for me to answer all the whys. And frankly, you're not going to get answers to all the whys. It's good to try to work out a system that's got spaces for why bad things might happen. But the bottom line is you need an if not clause in your relationship with God. I believe you are good. I believe you are great. I believe you are loving. And because of that, I turn to you, and I believe you can, ding, 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 and will, and I claim. But if not, I am still going to walk with you. I am still going to be loyal to you. I am still going to love you. I'm still going to serve you, because you've done like a million things for me already. And how many more do I have to have before I decide that you are worthy of my love, O Lord. So I need, and you need an if not clause. It can't have this spoiled child approach with God where we have to get everything we want the minute we ask for it. And if he ever disappoints us, we're going to go look for another God or no God at all. You decide how you want to live. But for me and for my wife, we are in this for the long haul. And being in it for the long journey requires an if not clause. We have passed through some very tough times, and I know you have too. And if you haven't, I'm sorry, you will. Something's going to happen in your life more than once. You're going to have, because, grown-up life at least is problem solving. It's this week's problem. And it doesn't mean you have to give up and go, oh, life has so many problems. It's just the job of a grown-up. We are professional problem solvers. And so just develop a great set of problem solving skills. But one of them is mental. You can't lose your confidence in God. You can't lose your grip on the Lord just because tough times come to you and you don't get bailed out. But you actually have to walk across the desert instead of having a rescue helicopter come and get you. You got to spend the 30 days it's going to take to put one foot in front of another and walk yourself out of this problem. There's some good things that happen in the long term of our life when we don't get rescued from the deep end and we have to kick and kick and kick. But that doesn't mean that so many other times God doesn't reach in, grab you, and pull you out. And I don't know why, because sometimes it seems like he saves you from the little things that, well, it's sort of an inconvenience, and suddenly it was gone. And then the big heavy thing, a lot of times it just stays on you. So, if not clause. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We're going to tell that story in the newsletter. So if you get a chance, read the newsletter. If not, you just heard the basic high points of the lesson. I care about you. That's why I do this. And I want to thank you for giving me your attention. I'm going to share whatever I have learned in my life and whatever's in my heart and whatever I come across because I want to see you grounded. I want to see you growing in the Lord and making progress in the Lord. So if you haven't subscribed, please do, so that as I produce things, it'll come straight to you. These newsletters will come straight to your email box, because I don't know if you're aware of it, but when you make things for social media, never more than 5% of the people who have already subscribed get to see it. Sometimes it's 1%. So it's just not an efficient way of getting messages out. You need some kind of system like this Substack that we have right here on Grounded. So thank you for subscribing. If you think this will be helpful to others, please share it with others. And I want to say thank you to those who financially support Grounded. I am so grateful to you. It's an encouragement to me, and it allows us to put the resources that we need behind this production so that every single week we can come out with something that is, we believe, valuable for all of us in our growth in the Lord. So God bless you. I'll see you next time.